On my post-PhD job hunt, how many jobs did I actually end up applying for? How many of those applications converted into interviews? And of those interviews, how many of them converted into successful job offers? Now, I'm also going to talk about a bit in between because I think on a post-PhD perspective, this is more relevant. So to start off with, my initial job search over a 9-month period resulted in about 220 jobs being shortlisted. Of that 220, 70 were pretty much dismissed very early on because they either didn't suit me or I didn't match the job spec. They were initially shortlisted, but as I went through the more with a finer tooth comb, I decided they weren't for me. Then of that, about 150, I would say, so there was 20. So there was 20 that following an informal discussion. Now of that 150, 30 of which of that 130, 30 of which I inquired about informally. So I had informal discussions with 30 research institutions, universities, academic staff, or policymakers, and finding out a bit more about the role. Of that 30, I would say 20 were dismissed because either I didn't meet the job spec that they wanted, or the candidate they were looking for, or that the role didn't suit me in terms of what they wanted, the type of experience, and equally what they were really offering or hoping for with that role. Now, of that, 10 did. Of those 130 applications, I would say on the more privileged side, and I will say that these came up very close together. And at one point, there was a decision where it was like, do I change how my applications are looking? Because a lot of these came up at the same time. So 15 of those 130 were successful enough at the application stage to get invited to interview. So two of those 15 were ongoing contracting roles, which were basically further progression within those particular jobs. One of which is still open and the outcome hasn't been decided yet. One was unsuccessful. Of those 13, there were 6 that I turned down because I'd already accepted a role. The other 3 were turned down because they clashed with other experiences within my PhD, such as the dates that I had already committed to and that were essential to my PhD progress. So there was then no flexibility to potentially move the date. So they were turned down for that reason, or they clashed with other commitments that were already in place. And again, not giving the flexibility for being able to attend on another date, so therefore they were declined. And outside of that, within the other 7 roles, 6 of which were I was unsuccessful at interview and had feedback for a variety of reasons, and one of which I accepted, and it's the position that I will be starting very shortly.